Hey everyone, my name is Igor, and today I'm going to show you a new feature which is called Query History Expert. And here I've got my kubecloud deployment. And an interesting thing about that deployment is that it uses the medium tier of monitoring integrations, which essentially enables access to the Query History Expert feature. So every time when you run a query in Playground or through any of available APIs and integrations, that query ends up in query history, where you can explore the number of requests. You can see the average response time, and you could drill down to each query and check generated SQL, check the security context that was associated with the query, check their duration, cache type, everything. But if you want to get detailed, customized analytics about the queries that flow through your semantic layer, and even attribute certain queries to certain business units, certain users of your system, then Query History Expert comes very handy. So here I've got my configuration for it. So this piece of code essentially instructs Query History Expert to grab all the query history data and export it to this S3 bucket on Amazon. Well, this could actually be any observability and monitoring system that you have, New Relic, Datadog, etc. But for simplicity, in this demo, we're using S3. And I have the S3 web UI open right here. You can see that we've got a folder for each day. I can open any folder and any JZip log file right here, and we'll see that it contains a lot of structured log data in JSON format. But since we're using Kube, we can actually analyze this data right within this deployment. So here I've got my requests queue, which uses DuckDB to read the data from that S3 bucket and analyze it further. So there are dimensions and measures for everything, but I believe we can just jump into Playground to observe the data. So the raw data that is available to you mimics what is available in query history. So you've got the identifier for each query, you know the deployment ID. If you have many, that can be handy. If you use branches and if you go to dev mode, that is reflected as the environment name. There is the API type. So if you use many APIs, that would be reflected here as well. The whole contents of your API query as a JSON object in case of the REST API, as a string in case of the SQL API. This is what hits your API endpoint in kubecloud. Of course, you've got your security context, the cache type, so you can understand which queries hit the in-memory cache, which queries hit the kube store, and which queries were served from the upstream data source directly. And a lot of other attributes like the start and end time, the duration, the status, so you can understand whether queries were successful or whether they errored, etc. So this is the raw data. And what you can do with this data is, well, for example, you can recreate some of the charts from query history. So this is basically the count of queries, and you can also count errors right here. You can check the latency of your queries, like the minimum duration, the maximum duration, or anything in between. You can check the effect of the cache type on your queries. So right here we see that obviously hitting in-memory cache is the fastest way to process your queries, and obviously kube store is very fast, and well, if your queries don't have the in-memory cache or don't have hit kube store, well, it can be not that performant, of course. So you can check the API type analytics, and you can attribute your queries to specific users. So you can see that here I'm extracting the username from this JSON object that that we have in our security context. So I can basically say, okay, so from the whole volume of queries that we've run, Alice was the most prolific user, and Eva is in the second place. And well, there are also a lot of unattributed queries. And if you're at the implementation stage, if you're actively tinkering with the data model and with the tables in your data warehouse, you might enjoy being able to directly export the errors and, well, analyze them further, or later when you've finished with your implementation, you can also monitor whether you have any errors and react to them. So this is the essence of the query history export feature. You've got a lot of data available for your customized analysis, and if you want to attribute the queries to certain users, certain business units, certain consumers of the data, or even implement chargebacks. If you're building the experience for your own customers, that is also possible with Query History Expert. With that, I hope you enjoy this feature, and till next time.